All right, babe. So you know what I'm talking about. This is the house Mom grew up in. All right. So there's the truck in the driveway, the light pole right at the turn, so get in the driveway to make it difficult. And then the hill that you go down. The sidewalk going up the hill. We'll walk around through here and bring it around. There used to be 2 dogwoods that used to sit in this front yard, but they all died. So back of the house with the property, gates locked up. Had to trim those so that the guy can get around. That light colored piece is the digital thing that they installed. It's what they had to do, the gas meter. Let's see, we'll walk around the driveway. The drive-through gate is locked as well, but I had to fix that. That awning right there on the corner, that'll cut your head. Ask me how I know. I made myself bleed a little bit. So the sunroom that used to be in the old pictures, a screened in porch. I had to swap these around because the guys, when they did the trees, cut those back. But then looking down, the driveway goes around and turns around the back of the house. There used to be an oil drum for the oil burning furnace right here, but I guess they tore it down and buried it, what Mom said, so it's somewhere underneath this ivy. And I got the gauge sticks for that. So back when Granddaddy had his stroke, my dad and I built a ramp going out to the street because we thought he was going to be confined to a wheelchair, but he more or less was. And there's Nova. So open this door that won't close and latch itself. So we'll just have to lock that. The old ass front door that you have to like mule kick to get shut. There's Mom sitting here. So the living room. You walk into the living room. The living room. The fan works. No, the fan doesn't work, but the light works. And we don't know if the fan's turned on or not. So we're not going to use it so we don't burn the house down. This is a stove insert. Buck stove insert. I wish we could get it. That thing's heavy as hell though. So then you come through this door. This is the old sunroom. Ta-da! And it's hot in here because there's no ventilation. So my granddaddy ended up enclosing this years ago. Grandma's got one. And a mammy with a black baby eating watermelon. But yeah. So some cross stitchings in the corner that my grandmother did. But yeah, this is the sunroom. We used to sit out here, and over here in this corner was an old scanner. We used to listen to the police band and the fire band going on when I was a kid. We'll close that. Kelly wants this door for whatever reason. I don't know why. It's kind of rickety. Probably because of the lock, because it's got one of those old. It's got one of those old school deals. So this would be the den, but they're stacking stuff in on it. The door to the basement, we'll take a tour there. But the old dining room table with the chairs that, here, come around here and see that. The chairs kind of look like that. They got more shit sitting on them. Kelly's going to get all of the old china that was my grandmother's. The AC unit that might still run since 1970. And then we got the little tiny kitchen. And then a little tiny kitchen. The little nook. The old 1960s, I think, modern table. The third refrigerator that's ever been in here. The second stove that's ever been in here. A little tiny thing. And then back out to the back deck. I guess you'd call it the back deck, back porch, whatever. We just kind of shove that stuff here. And then you got a screen door that leads down to the backyard. Okay, come on. There we go. To the old steps. Concrete steps. Now my granddaddy put that railing in. He just drilled a hole and re-cemented the railing once he had somebody he knew weld the upright pieces in. And put that on there because he had to bend it out to give it room for this screen door that I think more than likely original to the house. Granddaddy used to sit there when we were kids running in and out. He'd be sitting in his bedroom. You hear that door slam. Stop slamming that door. I could hear him right now. Lock that back. My uncle, either Uncle Louie or Uncle Alsel, took the hardware off that door and put that deadbolt in after my granddaddy died. So, into the master bedroom. This is the bedroom that my grandparents were in. Coming in here, and then that goes out to the hallway, and then closet door right there. Coming back around this way, and we'll go to the hall. And we have the hall. So that's the place where phone used to sit. Phone book would go right there. That's broken. So here's that old, Lance has claimed this one apparently, but old Remington Rand typewriter. And then that's, who's, this was Minnie's? This is actually a sewing machine inside this table here that belonged to my great grandmother. And then out in the sunroom was the one that belonged to my grandmother that my granddaddy bought for her. Linen closet in here. Attic access up to that door. Apparently there's an old 1950s color TV or black and white TV that's attached to a stand that's up there. This is the my great grandmother did this quilt, the tic-tac-toe quilt. Mom thought I was going to use that to sleep on, and it'll cover my legs. That's about it. Thanks, Mom. So the bathroom. This bathroom is tiny. Excuse me, Nova. Sink leaks underneath, so I'm eventually going to have to do that. The toilet is tiny, and there's not a lot of room between here and there, so I'm cramped. Taking a dump is not comfortable in here. Just fixed. And then the bathrooms, or the tub. Then is the other bedroom. This is where I've been sleeping. This is Mom and Joy's bedroom. Moving in, their old dresser that my grandmother did the whitewash on. The closet, that's where the old plastic train set used to be. The bed with the, I think that's a 4-inch mattress. It's kind of firm. It's all right. Real springy though. You can tell that. More whitewash furniture. Book shelving that my granddaddy built with the desk in there. All my shit kind of laid out so I could get to it. So this is the bedrooms. And there's Nova. I swear to God, if I went to the proctologist right now, he'd think that I had the cutest hemorrhoid. So, let's take a walk down to the basement. There's Mom. Put my shoulder into that, trying not to put it through the door or fall down the steps. No idea what that switches to. Here's the olds. Oh my God, that's a square D. 4 Edison fuses, 2 main switches. I have no idea. That is beyond the technology that I'm used to.
Does that say anything?
It's square D.
What those two, that...
No idea, Mom.
Okay.
I have no idea. I have to watch it because I'll hit my head right there.
Daddy always had to do that.
So, this is the basement. Groovy was parked right here. Here for the longest time. In fact, that's where like just random oils and stuff from Groovy leaked off for a while. That window's broken because a cat got locked in here when they left one time, and the neighbors broke the window open to get the cat, and they never fixed it. Underneath the stairs, let me see, can I turn the light on? Not available while using. Can't turn the light on while I'm using. Go fuck yourself. This is the nook. I don't know if I'm gonna get electrocuted hitting anything. Apparently that disconnect up there goes to the AC unit, but something's broke inside of it, so we can't use it. old canning jars. We could probably use those as fucking grenades if they don't blow up in my face right now. Well, that's my grandmother's stuff. Looks like some old bench grinders. I don't even know if they're any good anymore. The few smattering of tools that we've got. That's some kind of hand press. I have no idea what it is, but that is USA made handy button machine. Oh, that presses buttons. That was from Granddaddy's thing, his business, auto upholstery business. More stuffs. That's the cap to the chimney. It's got to get put back on. Some kind of thing here. This is an unfinished part of the basement. Granddaddy dug. This is a partially dug out basement. Granddaddy dug this out over here so he could have his little tool area. I don't know why he never got finished doing it. But walking around here, I used to get bathed in this sink when I was a baby. And let's turn these lights on. These lights off. See, that's that early ass cloth woven insulated electrical stuff. Just before Romex, but no ground. So new water heater got put in yesterday. That bed frame right there belonged to my great grandmother. My aunt had it, and for whatever reason it ended up back here. That, I believe, was my great grandmother's desk or something. I guess Jeff and Bethany had it. They painted it blue and they fucked it up. Old ass clock that don't work that I know of. Washer and dryer used to sit in here. That's an old mirror behind that. That's got to go to the dump. It's flaking off on the backside and whatnot. Let's see here. Just more vases, I guess. Just, you know, there's all the doors that were taken down, hanging up right there in the house over the years. What the hell is that? Oh, that's like a little something that looks like it's ready to burn the house down if you plug anything into it. So where this water heater is, right behind it, that's an old stove piping, and you see the outlet just above where the typewriter is upstairs. So that's the central heating. The heater doesn't work, so the gas is cut off. And then, let's see if that, okay, that gives us a little bit of light. So this box, so Granddaddy had psoriasis, right? So the doctor gave him plans on how to build his own, basically, tanning booth because it helped the psoriasis. And my brother took the door off and took all the lights and stuff out. Or somebody did, I don't know. But he built this box, lined it with tinfoil and whatnot. And then he had ultraviolet lights that would go in there. And he'd put his little things on. He'd step in there and be in there like, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes every day. So that's the tour of the basement. And then we come out to the back of the house. To the backs of the house. That's a pile of stuff. Some of the scrappers that came yesterday picked up a bunch of the metal and stuff out of there. That's basically what's left of the old chicken coop. And then in that pile right over there is where the rat snake escaped to. That I was texting you about. Backside of the house. So bathroom, bedroom, and then come around here, that's the back of the sunroom, and then the steps in the side window that Granddaddy would yell at us through. Right there, underneath the steps. All this stuff pretty much just needs to go get taken to the dump. God knows how old that rake is right there. Haven't seen one built like that since the 80s. But then, you know, we'll walk around here. So you see the base to the bird feeder right there. Used to have a really big dish to it, and then the kid who used to live in this house here threw a ball or something, knocked it off and broke it. The old fence has got the barbed wire on the tops falling down the back side of the gate, and once again where the power meter comes in, and then the ivy where the old oil drum is buried. Come on, Nova. Come on, baby. So then we come here. That's the tree that fell over on the house. It kind of dented the gutter right there. I don't know if you can see it. Maybe see a little indentation there. And then one of the branches leaned over. The tree pretty much is laid on top of the house. So it knocked off the cover It knocked off the TV antenna, which was nothing anyway. Nobody used it. It wasn't hooked up. And then bent the gutter up front. That's a tree stump that fell. This is the hill with all the ivy. And then that's the other tree that uprooted right there. That was all from Hurricane Helene. And then yesterday I cut all the ivy off these steps because you could barely see the steps because of all the ivy. The hand railings got knocked out also. And dudes that came along, these two posts down here, I'll point those out. They ended up cutting those off so that they could take the piping because they were probably going to hurt somebody if we left them. A lot of this stuff started to break apart. My granddaddy, way back in the day, mom helped build all this stuff when she was a little girl too. So we got this retaining wall that my granddaddy built, and you can see it's starting to shift from everything. This terracotta pipe right here is where the washer used to drain out. My granddaddy laid that in when they got the washing machine or some of the retaining wall falling down, all that. But we're down in the lower yard here. Right here's where the shed used to be, but a tree hit it. Stop eating that. That's your poo. Knock it off. Gross. That's where the shed was, and I helped dudes break it apart and load it up, and they came back this morning and finished getting everything else because dude had some kind of heart thing that basically he had a pacemaker, but it was also some external thing that I guess kept the charge on his heart. So we moved some stuff out of the way so they can get the flooring, the metal plating for the flooring. So there's the flooring slats right there, and that's all the stuff that was in it. The old vinyl and stuff from Granddaddy's upholstery business. In the little backyard. Here we go. Here's the stump and the rest of that. Man, that uprooted and turned all that clay up. That used to just be a steady deal moving down. And then these are the concrete chunks I threw in there because that post standing up right there was the other end of my grandmother's clothesline. Neighbor took the fence down right there so the guys, when they cut the trees, could come around to the back street here. And that's the hole that was left by the post that my granddaddy sunk 5 foot into the ground for whatever reason. Coming around here, and then we got the creek. The neighbors behind here who bought it built this bridge to go over the creek, which is now a ditch, I guess. But hearing stories from my mom about the chain gang coming to clean this creek out. So that's interesting. The fence that was up for like a year or two before the trees knocked it down. Nova, come. And then you got to watch your footing back here now because the trees made some giant divots. And that's looking back up to the house from, just a little more than halfway down the backyard. So that's the house. So you got some reference for when I'm talking about stuff. If you even sit through here, through this whole nearly 18-minute video. And there's some terracotta pipe in that tree too. That's interesting. All right, well, that's the tour of the home that my grandmother and grandfather grew up or lived in. Mother and aunt grew up in. Mother was brought home to this house when she was born from the hospital. Grandmother died in it. And I was a kid who came up here and did a lot of stuff up here. Nova's taking a crap. All right. Good girl. All right.